What's up, everybody? This is Cool Dude, and welcome back to the, again, out of focus video, tier list video. Long title. But yeah, just kidding. This is a Five Nights at Freddy's games tier list. Before the questions start, no, I am not a die-hard fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. In fact, never was. But I still know a lot about the games and what has happened. So, don't send death threats towards me if you don't agree with me on my opinion on the Five Nights at Freddy's games, because I'm not the expert at it. This is just from my personal opinion. And I'm glad you can enjoy something that I clearly can't. So with that being said, this is SS up here, this is S, A, B, C, D, and then F down here. And this should all be pretty self-explanatory in terms of what they mean. Anyway, first Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm gonna rank these off of three factors. A, the gameplay, B, the story behind it, and C, just how it's held up in terms of a game. Five Nights at Freddy's goes into the S, because simply put, Five Nights at Freddy's is a perfect game. The system by which it ran on, like, I think was a really great start for the game. The controls were relatively easy to manage if you actually paid attention to the rules. And, it just feels like a good horror game. Not really, like, scary, the jump scares, it's just more like a surprise. But I do like how the jump scares are made in that game, specifically, and the story behind it is classic, and there's no, like, complicated lore, which admittedly, I'm not a big fan of with Five Nights at Freddy's. And that's one reason why I don't like FNAF that much, so for that reason, if this camera will frickin' focus, which it never will, but Five Nights at Freddy's, the first one, goes into this tier. Oh, next game, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, you go into A. The reason it's not higher is because I personally do not like the more spastic gameplay. Like, I get what they're going for, but, like, after a while, it just becomes way too much, and it, like, comes infuriating to just, you know, pass a few nights, or just pass one night, because all of, like, everything's just coming at you, like, so quickly, because there's a lot more things to do in this game in an installment, and it just feels overwhelming at times. So that's why Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is an A, but I still do like the story, both the story behind it and the animatronics themselves. In fact, Withered Bonnie is one of my favorite design-looking ones, just because it just looks so creepy. So, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, not better than Five Nights at Freddy's 1 in my opinion in terms of the gameplay, but still pretty good. Five Nights at Freddy's 3, honestly, I think is a little overrated. I'm gonna give you a C. Just because Five Nights at Freddy's 3, I don't like that there's only one animatronic. And Springtrap, ironically, that his jump scare is the weakest one in the entire series. His jump scare in Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is so lame compared to all, like, even the what are they called? The Phantom animatronics. Like, their jump scares are like 10 times better than Springtrap's. It's like 10 times more scary, even. So, for that reason, it goes in C. But not only that, because, like, the gameplay itself was pretty weak. The one thing I did like about Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is the story. The fact that this is William Afton, the purple guy, and it's finally revealed as Springtrap. And my camera's not focusing. Gosh darn it, why won't this ever work? Anyway, for that reason, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 gets C. Hey, that rhymed. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 gets the S, because I love the story behind it is terrifying, because just imagine these things in your bedroom. That is beyond horrifying, especially since I don't like living dolls, like inanimate dolls and, like, dummies coming to life, so. In particular, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is just terrifying in that regard, compared to a pizza restaurant. But also, I like the animatronic designs. They're, like, absolutely creative and awesome, despite the fact they make no sense whatsoever. The gameplay is really well done. Like, if you want, like, a really scary, tense game. Because you have to, like, literally open the door and then have a chance to get jump scared. So, in that regard, it, like, really tenses you up. So, it's a good tension builder, Five Nights at Freddy's 4, just like Five Nights at Freddy's. I guess my one complaint is the fact that, it really just, like, I don't know. It's just, something is preventing me from putting it in SS. With Five Nights at Freddy's 4. I guess it's just because it doesn't hit the same amount of memories as the other ones do. Like, it's cool and all, but I don't really remember much about it. if that makes sense, aside from the bite. But this game is still good. Ultimate Custom Night. This game, right here, is awesome. It's absolutely amazing. For that, it goes into A. And actually, I'm going to put Five Nights at Freddy's 2 a B, because I don't feel like they should be in the same kind of category. Because Ultimate Custom Night is just an awesome game. The fact that Scott Cawthon took the time to, like, put all these different characters, give them, like, voice actors, give them so much personality in just one game. Especially with some of, like, the DLC characters, they have a lot of cool personalities in the voices. It's just great. One thing I will say is that it's kind of on the same level with Five Nights at Freddy's 2 in terms of difficulty, except much, much worse. Actually, the more I'm looking at it, this should go up here, and this should go down here, because the difficulty on this game is freaking hard. I guess one could argue that you could customize it to make it less difficult, but that's just lazy to me. So, for that reason, it just goes in B. Five Nights at Freddy's VR, you go, honestly, in the SS. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is hands down the best Five Nights at Freddy's game ever. Haven't played it, but, like, just looking at, like, how it looks and how it functions and, like, what Scott Cawthon and all the team was able to do, this game is absolutely amazing. It combines everything that Five Nights at Freddy's has already done, and it also incorporates its own elements to make its own story. The visuals look great. Just the whole, like, idea of you being face to face with these animatronics trying to kill you is amazing. It's just an all in all good game. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. Now, I love the pizza simulator aspect of this game. I really do. It's a great concept, and the reason why it sucks is just because I wish it was just that. You know what I mean? Because the actual gameplay is the worst. Like, I beg to say it's even worse than Five Nights at Freddy's 3, so I'll give it a C. Because I do like the concept of, like, you running a pizzeria. That's just really cool to me. Really, really cool. But, like, the actual, like, when you actually go into the office and have to avoid the animatronics, it just feels, it's just derailing the plot for the sake of you having to, like, watch the animatronics because it's tradition in Five Nights at Freddy's. So for that reason, I give it the C with Five Nights at Freddy's 3. FNAF's sister location gets the S. Another one of those great games, because it's just, this one is like Five Nights at Freddy's 4 if it was fully realized. Animatronics designs are great, the story is great, and it actually, you know, like, it feels memorable. Like, everything about this game is just so memorable, from the funny moments to all the animatronics and the segments and whatnot, because it was so different from the other Five Nights at Freddy's games, and I give it so much love for being something unique and different than that. The only reason it's not higher, because, well, it's not VR. That's the only reason. FNAF World, you get the D. I'm so sorry to all you FNAF World lovers, but I do not understand this game. Honestly, it was a cool concept. I'll give it that. Like, Five Nights at Freddy, FNAF World is a great, great concept for a game. Just making all the characters do an RPG, that's cool. But the execution was awful. I mean, awful. And the actual story, like, it just feels incredibly inconsistent, and it feels like, I don't know, it feels like it should be non-canon to the game, but somehow it is. It's like, mixing this with everything else just feels, like, wrong to me, so that's why it's in D. But it's not an F, because I do really like the concept of it. And finally, Five Nights at Freddy's AR, Special Delivery. This goes into the A category, because, again, I like the concept of you being able to control your animatronics and just invade everyone's houses, because that's just really cool. It's like taking Five Nights at Freddy's 4 and, like, upping it to 10, which I think is awesome. In fact, it may even be a better version of FNAF 4, but I just think the gameplay of FNAF 4 was a lot better than Five Nights at Freddy's AR. And that's really where I have the problem with FNAF AR. It's just the gameplay is kind of lacking for me. It's not really enough. So, with that said, this is my FNAF games tier list. And there really is no FNAF game I would put in F, because Scott Cawthon makes some pretty solid games. Except for FNAF World, but we don't talk about that. So, this is the my tier list from the perspective of someone who doesn't overly love this franchise. Not to hate on you if you do overlove this franchise, because I can understand why people love it. It's a really good series. But I just don't like it because it's too complicated and I don't know what's going on. But, anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I understand I'm not the Markiplier or the Daco of the FNAF lore, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this tier list nonetheless. And if you want to see more, let me know. And until next time, stay cool. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye, y'all.